So let me explain how to find the standard deviation, and hopefully I can answer the question. I'm not sure exactly where you got stuck, but first of all, if I'm doing this on a mobile device, I'm going to have this sort of display where you don't see the typical navigation tools up here at the top. And if you want to use any of the help tools, you come over here to the help window and drop them down, and there will be Ask My Instructor and sometimes a video and sometimes an animation, depending on the question. Now, I would direct your attention to this tool right here. This will allow you to open up the data set to copy to a clipboard or to put directly into StatCrunch. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and try to open to StatCrunch. When I do that, because I was opening your question that you and it wasn't actually signed, I wasn't actually signed into my account, what ends up happening is it tells me that I'm not signed in. If that ever happens to you, don't worry about it. It's just saying that you need to go back and sign into MyMathLab. So if you see up here at the top, I'm signed into the discussion board, and I'm signed into your question, but I'm not signed into others. So if I if I sign into mine, and I'm not showing you the process, but I went ahead and I signed into my account under the homework, and then opened some homework questions. Then I came back to yours, so now I'm on that question you had asked me, and you'll notice that when I use the tool and say open in StatCrunch, it does open with the entire set already typed in. It wouldn't have been a big deal, because if I did not want to log into my account, I could have just opened up the tool and typed the numbers in myself. I just like to use the tool because it's likely, in a lot of cases for me, that I'm going to have a typo, and this way there won't be a typo. I'll know that I've got exactly the set that they had given me in the problem. Alright, so here's how it works. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that you're going to click the Stat button on the previous page. So you click the Stat. It ends up being about right here, and it says Stat. So choose Stat, and then under Stat you're going to choose Summary Stats, and then the drop down will give you options. We're going to choose by column, and then it allows you to put in the column that you wanted to select from, and our column was the first column, so it's var1 for variables from the first column. Okay, and then I came down here to the statistics, and by default it already selects these 11, but I can change. I can either get rid of them, or I can scroll down and add new ones. I'm just going to go ahead and select just the 3 we need, which are variance, standard deviation, and range. Okay, now with those selected, I've got the column and the ones I want. I'm ready to hit compute. And this is the output. It reminds me which column of data I took it from, and I actually only had 1 column of data, so that's not a problem. And then which summary statistics I chose. Keep in mind, this standard deviation that it's using is calculating with the sample standard deviation S calculation. So that means that it's dividing by the square root, it's dividing by n minus 1. So you go back and review. There's a calculation for standard deviation if you're calculating the population standard deviation, and that is different than if you're calculating the sample standard deviation. So this right here, this variance, is the sample variance. In chapters to come, we'll be calculating the population standard deviation and the population variance. The range is the same no matter what, whether it's from a population or from a sample. Alright, then I can close this right here, and I can see that those are exactly the numbers that I had. Range 24, rounded to 1 decimal, the variance is 75.8, and rounded to 1 decimal, 8 7/10 for the standard deviation. I'm not sure if that is helping. If your question was down here, let me make a quick comment about it. So, what important feature of the data is not revealed through the different measures of variation? Let's see, you chose the measures of variation reveal nothing about how the numbers of manatee deaths are spread. Actually, that is exactly what they measure. Variance, standard deviation, those are all measures of what we call spread. So, you can kind of just, in your mind, put that in quotes. Spread. They don't measure the center of the data, but more importantly, the measures of variation reveal nothing about the pattern over time. So we don't know if there are, let's see, what was this referring to? Deaths. If there are more or less deaths over time, we just know that we've taken a sample of deaths and here's the spread or the variance in the data. All right, I hope that helps.